Today, we're going to get into something really fascinating, the art of social selection. We're going to ask the question, why do some of the most brilliant people we know so often have these really small, tight-knit social circles?
Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and start with the big stereotype. You've seen it in movies, right? The genius who's way more comfortable with a complex equation than, a simple conversation. But is that what's really going on? Are smart people just antisocial?
Well, the short answer, absolutely not. And over the next few minutes, we're going to take that whole antisocial genius idea and pretty much tear it apart. We're going to find out what's actually happening beneath the surface.
So here's the key thing to understand. What we might see from the outside and call social awkwardness or a lack of people skills is very often something else entirely. It's not about an inability to connect. It's about having totally different needs when it comes to social interaction. And to really get our heads around this, we have to be super clear about the words we're using. This isn't just about being picky with words. This distinction is actually the key to understanding this whole concept.
All right, the term we're going to focus on is socially selective. Let's break that down. It's a conscious preference. So right away, we know it's an active choice. And the choice is valuing deep, high-quality interactions with just a few people instead of shallow, surface-level chats with tons of people.
And wow, when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day, isn't it? Being socially selective is all about prioritizing depth, saving your social energy for what really matters, and looking for real, meaningful connections. Now, antisocial, that's a clinical term. That describes behavior that's actually harmful, that ignores social rules, and often comes with a lack of empathy. They're not even in the same universe. Okay, so that brings us to the big question, right? Why do we see this trait pop up so often with people who have a really high cognitive ability? Let's start connecting the dots between a sharp mind and a small circle of friends. This quote just nails it. Think about it for a second. A transaction, it's quick, it's on the surface, and the return is pretty low. But an investment? That's when you put in real time and energy, because you know the reward, the payoff, is going to be so much greater in the long run. For a really curious mind, small talk can just feel like a bad investment of their energy. This really gets to the heart of the why. People who are intellectually curious are literally wired to look for new ideas, for depth. Small talk about the weather just doesn't scratch that itch. In fact, it does the opposite. It can feel incredibly draining. They're looking for communication that actually goes somewhere, and they actively search for people who will challenge them, inspire them, and make them think. That's the good stuff. And this is where it gets really cool, because we can stop seeing this as just a personality quirk and start seeing it for what it is, an active skill, an art form, even. The art of intentionally building your social world. Here's the perfect way to think about it. Your social energy is like a budget. You only have so much of it to spend each day. People who are socially selective are just really, really smart investors. They want to make sure that every ounce of that precious energy goes into the relationships and conversations that give them the biggest return, the most fulfillment, inspiration, and genuine connection. So, how do you actually do this? Well, you can kind of break it down into 3 steps. First, you have to figure out what you actually need from a connection. What really recharges you? Is it that deep intellectual debate? Is it emotional support? Then, step 2, you consciously put your energy into those interactions that give you that. And finally, step 3, you actively nurture and take care of the relationships that truly line up with what you value most. So, after all this careful selection, all this curation, what's the end result? Well, it's a simple but really profound shift. It's the ultimate example of choosing quality over quantity. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. Look at that first bar. Your social circle size? Yeah, it's smaller, no doubt about it. But then look at that second bar, the depth of connection. It's through the roof. You're making a trade. You're giving up a little bit of breadth to gain an incredible amount of depth. And if you remember just one thing from all of this, please let it be this. Being socially selective is not about running away from the world. It's not about building walls to keep people out. It's a focused, intense search for the deepest connections you can possibly find. It's about finding your people, even if your people ends up being just a handful of them. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. When you look at your own social life, are the people in it there just because of circumstance or because you actively chose them? Is your social circle something that just kind of happened to you, or is it something you've intentionally built?